Hi, this is Sean Henricksen here at the Sean Henricksen Law Firm, where we help good people like you avoid the devastating consequences of criminal charges. Today we're going to talk a little bit about when you need to give your name and other information to the police and when you don't need to. I've got a lot of people who come in and who will find out that there's a warrant out for their arrest because they had some interaction with the police department. An officer asked for their name or asked for their ID or something. And when the officer ran the person's name, turned out there was a warrant, they get arrested. And sometimes that even leads to other charges if, for example, they've got anything illegal on them like drugs, marijuana, or anything else. Before I talk about that, I do have a free download for you. If you go down and look in the notes, I've got 4 things that you need to do if you've been arrested. And it really gives you some tips on what you can be doing if you are charged with something to give you a better chance of getting a good outcome on your case. The main thing to remember through all of this is that you've got the constitutional right to remain silent and you've got the right to speak with an attorney. If you're being investigated or questioned by an officer, it's important that you exercise those rights. Tell the officer that you are exercising your right to remain silent, ask to speak with an attorney, and then stop talking. There is, however, a legal duty to give information in certain circumstances. The first is going to be if you're driving. If you're driving, you do have to give an officer your driver's license if he requests it. If you're operating a motor vehicle and an officer asks for your license and you don't give it to him, then it could be a $200 fine, which isn't a huge thing, but something that you may want to avoid. And if you are charged with that, if you've got convictions of that previously, then it can be enhanced. The important thing to remember is that if you're not the one operating the motor vehicle, if you're a passenger in the vehicle, you've got no duty at all to provide a driver's license to a police officer. In that circumstance, whether you're a passenger in a car or if you're not in a car at all, you're just having a different interaction with an officer, you generally don't have to give an officer your information. However, you can't give him false information in a few circumstances. The first is if you're being detained, and that just means that you're being held by an officer for questioning or to investigate you for possibly committing a crime. In that circumstance, you can't give a fake name. The other 2 circumstances where you can't give a false or a fake name are if you are under arrest or even if you're a witness to a crime. If an officer is getting your information because he thinks that you witnessed a crime, you can't give him a fake name. Again, you can refuse to give him any information, you just can't give him false information. The only time that you have to give an officer any information is if you're actually under arrest. If you're under arrest, then there is certain information that you do have to give to an officer, and that is your name, your date of birth, and your address. If you fail to identify yourself and you're under arrest, then again, you're looking at a Class C misdemeanor, which is the same level as a speeding ticket. If you give a fake name and you're under arrest, you're being detained, or if you're a witness, then that is a Class B misdemeanor. If, however, you fail to identify yourself under any of those things that we just mentioned, and if you happen to have a warrant out for your arrest, then everything gets bumped up a level. So if you give a false name and if you've got a warrant out for your arrest, then that's going to be moved up to a Class A misdemeanor. If you're under arrest and you refuse to give any information, that moves up from a Class C misdemeanor up to a Class B misdemeanor. Class A misdemeanor just means that you're being charged with a crime with a maximum punishment of a year in jail. Class B misdemeanor, maximum punishment is 6 months in jail. Class C misdemeanor just means no jail time, but a maximum punishment of $500. If you have any questions about when you need to identify yourself to a police officer or what information you need to give to that officer, or if you're being charged with failure to identify yourself, feel free to give me a call. I'd be happy to discuss any of that with you or discuss your case with you. My phone number is 210-942-4997. And if this video has been helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you liked it and subscribe to it. And if there's anything that you'd like me to cover in the future, feel free to comment and I'd be happy to make a video about that. Have a great day.